Good evening. I'm glad you're here. Tonight is a time to slow down and rest, to step gently out of the day and into something quieter. There is nothing you need to achieve while you're listening, nothing you need to solve, fix, or think through. This is simply a place to pause. As you listen, you can allow the day to begin loosening its hold, not all at once, not forcefully, just little by little, in the way things naturally soften when they're no longer needed. In a little while, you'll begin listening to a calm story, a quiet journey through the night on a gentle train. There's no destination you need to remember. No need to follow every word. The story will be there to carry you, whether you're fully awake or already drifting. Before that, we'll take some time to unwind, to settle the body, quiet the mind, and allow yourself to arrive here fully. If you're comfortable where you are, you can remain exactly as you are. If you feel like making a small adjustment, shifting your position, settling your head, allowing your shoulders to drop, you can do that now, slowly and without hurry. There is no rush here. As you settle, you may begin to notice your breathing. There's no need to change it, no need to deepen it or control it. Just notice the gentle movement of air as it comes in and as it leaves, in and out. You may notice that your breath has its own rhythm, its own pace. It doesn't need guidance. It knows what to do. As you continue to listen, you might begin to sense areas of your body starting to soften without you asking them to. Perhaps the muscles in your face relax slightly. Perhaps your jaw loosens. Perhaps your shoulders lower just a little more. You don't need to check. You don't need to make anything happen. Comfort can arrive quietly. As you breathe in, you might imagine gently gathering the air without effort. As you breathe out, you might imagine letting something go. Not everything, just a little, in and out. If thoughts appear, that's perfectly natural. You don't need to push them away or engage with them. You can allow them to pass through, like distant sounds or fading light. They can come, they can go. You don't need to follow. As the moments pass, you may notice your breathing beginning to slow on its own. Not because you're changing it, but because there's nothing urging it to hurry anymore. Each inhale arrives when it's ready. Each exhale leaves when it's ready. There's no pattern to hold, no rhythm to maintain. If it feels comfortable, you might allow the exhale to linger just a moment longer, letting the breath leave gently, completely, before the next inhale arrives naturally. And then you simply allow the next breath to come. There is nothing to hold. With each slow breath out, you may find the day continuing to soften. Conversations feel more distant. Lists lose their urgency. Unfinished thoughts grow quieter. They can wait. Right now, this moment is just for rest. You may begin to notice a sense of heaviness or lightness in your body. Some people feel as though they're gently sinking into where they're resting. Others feel as though the body is becoming less noticeable, less defined. Either sensation is welcome. Your breathing continues quietly in the background, without needing attention unless you choose to notice it. In and out. If your attention drifts, that's completely fine. You don't need to bring it back deliberately. It can wander gently and return on its own whenever it's ready. This is not a test. This is not something you can do wrong. As the minutes pass, the space around you may begin to feel calmer, more settled. The body understands how to rest when given permission. The mind too can begin to quiet itself. You don't need to empty your thoughts. You don't need to stop thinking. You can simply allow thoughts to become less important. As you continue to rest here, you may feel yourself becoming more supported by the surface beneath you, by the quiet around you, by the simple fact that there is nothing being asked of you. You are allowed to rest. In a few moments, the story will begin. You don't need to prepare for it. You don't need to listen closely or follow the journey carefully. The story will move gently, at its own pace, like a train travelling through the night. It will be there to carry you, whether you remain awake or drift into sleep. For now, you can take one more easy breath in and a slow, unhurried breath out, allowing yourself to settle just a little more. And as you continue listening, you can simply let the quiet journey through the night begin. You find your seat without any hurry. There is plenty of time. There is always enough time here. The carriage is quiet, almost empty, the kind of quiet that feels intentional rather than lonely. A few soft lights glow overhead, dim just enough to feel comforting, not demanding. The fabric of the seat supports you easily as you settle back, your body finding its place without effort. There is no rush to arrange yourself perfectly. You can shift, you can pause, you can simply sit and allow the moment to hold you. Outside the window, the platform rests under low lights. Everything feels slightly muted, as though the night has gently turned the volume down on the world. Shapes are softened, edges are blurred. Sounds arrive slowly, if they arrive at all. Somewhere far along the platform, a door closes, not sharply, just enough to be noticed and then forgotten. You don't need to look for anyone. You don't need to wonder who else might be travelling. This journey doesn't require awareness of anything beyond this carriage, this seat, this moment. The train has not yet begun to move, and there is something peaceful about that stillness. A quiet pause before motion. A moment suspended between where you were and wherever the tracks might eventually lead. There is no destination you need to keep in mind, no arrival time to calculate, no place you must be. You are simply here. As you sit, you may notice the subtle sounds of the train itself, a faint hum beneath the floor, a soft, steady presence that feels reassuring rather than mechanical, the kind of sound that reminds you that something else is carrying the weight for you. You don't need to carry anything right now, not plans, not expectations, not even thoughts, if they choose to loosen and drift. The seat beneath you feels stable. The air around you feels calm. Your shoulders may begin to lower slightly without you asking them to. If your breathing draws your attention, you can notice it gently, not changing it, not guiding it, just noticing the quiet rhythm that has been there all along. In and out. Your breathing can remain just as it is, easy and unforced, as the quiet around you begins to shift, almost without notice. In a moment, you'll find yourself settling into a gentle journey through the night. There's no destination you need to remember, and no need to follow every detail. You can simply allow yourself to be carried. Imagine a quiet train waiting in the darkness. Its lights are low. Its movement is unhurried. There's no rush to board. No need to prepare. You're already exactly where you need to be. As the story begins, you can let the words pass by softly, like lights outside a window. Noticed briefly, then released. Nothing needs to be held. Nothing needs to be remembered. And so, without effort, the journey begins. Outside the window, lights remain still for now. Reflections move faintly across the glass as people pass somewhere far away, their presence more suggested than seen. Even those movements feel unimportant, as though the night itself has decided to simplify everything. Soon, very soon, the train will begin to move. But there is no need to anticipate it. It will happen on its own. For now, you can rest in this pause. The carriage holds a gentle warmth, not heavy, not close, just enough to feel safe. The air carries no strong scent, only the quiet neutrality of a place designed for passing through rather than staying. You may notice how little is required of you here. No conversation, no decisions, no performance, just sitting, just being carried. Somewhere deep within the train, a soft sound shifts, a barely perceptible change, like a breath being taken before a long, slow exhale. The kind of sound you don't need to interpret, only register. And then, gradually, the world outside begins to move. Not suddenly, not sharply. At first, it is almost uncertain, a gentle gliding, as if the scenery itself has decided to drift rather than the train deciding to go. Lights slide past the window with unhurried grace. Lines stretch, then dissolve. The motion is smooth, predictable, comforting. You don't need to follow where you're going. The tracks already know the way. As the train settles into its rhythm, the sound beneath you becomes more even, a soft, continuous motion that hums quietly through the carriage. It is steady enough to trust, gentle enough to ignore. You may notice how your body responds to this movement, how it allows itself to be carried, how it stops preparing. There is nothing you need to brace for, nothing that requires alertness. The night outside deepens as the platform slips away behind you, unnoticed. Stations will come and go later, but for now there is only motion and darkness and passing light. You might glance out the window, or you might not. Both are perfectly fine. Reflections of the interior drift faintly across the glass, soft shapes, softened light, blending with the darkness beyond. Inside and outside begin to feel less separate, as though everything is gently merging into one quiet experience. The train continues forward, smooth and unhurried. You don't need to keep track of time. Minutes don't matter here, neither do hours. This journey is not measured in distance, but in stillness. As the rhythm settles, you may feel yourself settling too. Thoughts that arrived with you may begin to loosen their grip, one by one. They don't need to disappear. They can simply grow quieter, less insistent. There will be plenty of time for everything else later. Right now, the night is doing the travelling for you. And as the train moves steadily onward, carrying you gently through the darkness, you can allow yourself to rest a little more deeply into the seat, into the sound, into the calm, unbroken flow of the journey. The movement has settled now. Not fast, not slow, just steady enough to trust. The train glides forward with an ease that feels almost effortless, as though the tracks themselves are gently guiding it along. Beneath you, the motion has become a quiet rhythm, a soft, repeating presence, that asks nothing of you in return. You don't need to adjust to it anymore. Your body already has. The sound of the wheels is muted, smoothed by distance and design, turning into something closer to a low, continuous whisper. It rises and falls subtly, never demanding attention, only offering reassurance. Outside the window, the world drifts by in fragments. A single light appears, then another, then fades again into darkness. There is no need to identify what you're passing, no towns to name, no landmarks to remember. Everything outside exists only briefly, long enough to be noticed and then released. You may find that your eyes soften as you look out, no longer trying to focus on details. The glass reflects faint traces of the interior, the curve of a seat, the glow of a light, layered gently over the night beyond. Inside and outside blur together. Motion and stillness share the same space. The carriage remains quiet. Empty seats rest undisturbed, holding their shape patiently, as though they've been waiting for this calm all along. No voices interrupt the air, no footsteps approach. Even the train seems to respect the stillness it has created. You don't need to fill the silence, it is already complete. As the train moves, your breathing may naturally begin to slow, not because you're trying to change it, but because there is no longer anything urging it to hurry. In and out. Each breath arrives when it's ready. Each one leaves without being held. The passing lights outside form soft patterns now, long lines stretching briefly across the window before dissolving back into dark. They don't linger, they don't ask to be remembered, they are simply passing through. You might notice how easy it feels to let them go. The rhythm beneath you continues, constant and untroubled, a gentle reminder that forward movement doesn't have to feel effortful, that progress can be quiet, that travel can feel like rest. There is no destination pressing itself into your thoughts, no sense of almost there, no need to count how far you've come. The night holds everything evenly. Somewhere far away beyond the carriage, the landscape changes slowly. Fields give way to darker stretches. Occasional clusters of lights suggest places where others are resting too, unaware of this train slipping by. Even those lights feel sleepy. The train does not announce itself loudly as it passes. It doesn't interrupt the night. It simply becomes part of it, moving through with courtesy and care. You may notice how your muscles soften a little more now. The jaw unclenches, the forehead smooths. The space behind the eyes grows quieter. There is nothing you need to stay alert for, nothing you might miss. If a thought drifts in, you don't need to follow it. You can let it ride alongside you for a moment, and then let it slip away, just like the lights outside. The train will keep going whether you think or not, whether you listen or not, whether you remain awake or begin to drift. That knowledge can be comforting. The carriage light hums softly overhead, steady and calm. It does not flicker, it does not change. It simply remains like a small anchor in the dark. You are supported here by the seat, by the rhythm, by the night itself. As the train moves onward, you may find that time becomes less defined. Minutes stretch gently, moments feel longer, softer, less measured. There is no reason to keep track. The sound of motion becomes more familiar with each passing moment, like a quiet companion that doesn't need conversation. It stays with you, steady and predictable, allowing your attention to loosen further. Outside, another set of lights appears briefly, then fades. A station passes somewhere in the distance, quiet and unannounced. No doors open, no voices call out. This train does not hurry. It carries you through the night with patience, as though it understands exactly what this moment is for. And as the darkness deepens and the rhythm continues, you can allow yourself to sink a little further into the experience, letting the motion carry you, letting the quiet surround you, letting the journey unfold without effort. The train continues on, steady and unchanging, as though it has found the perfect pace and intends to keep it. Nothing about the movement feels uncertain now. It is familiar, predictable, easy to trust. The carriage around you remains quiet. The empty seats seem to rest in place, undisturbed, their shapes softened by low light and shadow. There is no sense of waiting here. Nothing feels unfinished. Everything simply is. You may notice how spacious the carriage feels, not empty in a lonely way, empty in a peaceful way. The kind of space that allows thoughts to stretch out and then slowly relax. If you choose to look around, you might notice small details, the gentle curve of the window frame, the way the light pools softly on the floor, the subtle textures of fabric and metal. None of it demands attention. It's all content to exist quietly in the background. You don't need to examine anything closely. A passing glance is enough. Outside, the night has grown deeper. The darkness feels fuller now, richer, as though it has settled into itself. Lights appear less frequently, and when they do, they seem dimmer, more distant, already halfway gone before you notice them. The world beyond the window feels far away, contained, unconcerned. The train glides through it without disturbance. You might become aware of how little sound there truly is, the steady motion beneath you, the faint hum of the carriage, perhaps the soft whisper of air moving somewhere unseen. Nothing sharp, nothing sudden. Even silence here feels gentle. As the minutes pass, or perhaps longer than minutes, your awareness may begin to drift inward. The outside world matters less now. The rhythm of the train becomes something you feel rather than hear. A quiet vibration, a continuous flow. Your breathing moves naturally alongside it, unforced and unplanned. Each inhale arrives calmly. Each exhale leaves without hesitation. There is nothing you need to control. You may notice that your thoughts have slowed. They don't rush in anymore. They arrive softly, one at a time, and often leave before they fully form. Some may repeat themselves. Some may fade halfway through. Some may dissolve entirely. All of that is perfectly fine. The train does not require your attention to continue. It carries you whether you're thinking, listening, or drifting somewhere in between. At times, the window reflects only darkness now, the interior fading into the night beyond. It can feel as though the carriage itself is floating, untethered from the world outside, suspended, supported, moving forward without effort. If your eyelids grow heavy, there is no need to resist. If they remain open, there is no need to keep them that way. Both states belong here. The empty seats nearby seem almost like quiet companions, sharing the journey without conversation. They don't intrude, they don't ask, they simply remain. There is something comforting about their presence. Another distant station passes unnoticed. Perhaps there is a soft shift in the sound of the tracks, a barely perceptible change that signals movement through a different space. It comes and goes without interruption. Nothing changes for you. The night continues to hold everything gently, smoothing sharp edges, quieting unnecessary noise. The train becomes part of that same calm, a moving extension of the night itself. You may feel as though you've been travelling for a long time now, or perhaps it feels like only moments have passed. Time doesn't behave the same way here. It stretches, it softens, it stops insisting on being counted. Your body rests more fully into the seat. Muscles release what they've been holding without being asked. The weight you carried earlier in the day feels distant now, less defined. There is no need to remember what came before this journey. There is no need to anticipate what comes after. Right now, there is only this gentle movement, this quiet space, this unbroken calm. The train continues forward, unwavering, patient, carrying you deeper into the night, deeper into stillness, allowing everything unnecessary to fall away. The night has grown very deep now, not darker in a heavy way, but fuller, as though the world has finally settled into its quietest state. The train continues to move with the same gentle certainty, carrying you through this softened darkness without interruption. There are fewer lights outside now. Long stretches pass with nothing but shadow and faint texture, the suggestion of landscape rather than its details. The window reflects almost nothing back at you, and it can feel as though the train is moving through open space rather than along the ground. You don't need to know where you are. The journey no longer depends on location. The sound of motion has become a familiar presence, so consistent that it fades into the background of awareness. It is still there, steady and reassuring, but it no longer asks to be noticed. Like breathing, like a heartbeat, like something that simply continues on its own. Your thoughts may have grown slower now, softer around the edges. They may appear as fragments rather than full ideas. A word without a sentence, a feeling without a reason. You don't need to complete them. The train is an easy place for half dreams, a place where waking and resting gently overlap, where awareness drifts in and out without needing permission. If your eyes are closed, you may sense the movement more clearly. If they are open, the darkness offers very little to hold on to. Both allow the mind to wander freely. There is no danger in drifting here, no signal you need to listen for, no moment that requires your attention. The carriage remains unchanged. The seats hold their quiet shapes. The air stays still and neutral. Everything continues exactly as it should. Somewhere far ahead, the tracks stretch endlessly forward, already prepared for this train to pass. They do not resist. They do not question the direction. They simply guide. You may notice how safe it feels to be carried without having to choose, to move forward without deciding where to go, to exist in motion without effort. The night accepts this completely. Occasionally, a distant light appears, faint and brief, then disappears again, like a thought that arrives just before sleep and then dissolves. It leaves no impression. It asks for nothing. The darkness returns, even softer than before. Your body may feel heavier now, settled more fully into the seat, or it may feel lighter, as though the steady motion has lifted something you were holding. Both sensations are welcome. Breathing continues quietly, unobserved, unless you choose to notice it. Each breath moves through you with ease, without needing to be guided or shaped. There is nothing to fix, nothing to review, nothing to prepare. The day is far away now. Whatever belonged to it has loosened its hold. Responsibilities, conversations, unfinished thoughts, all of them feel distant, as though they belong to someone else, somewhere else. Here, the night is simple. The train does not hurry, it does not slow. It maintains the same gentle pace, as if it understands that this moment is not meant to be rushed through. You are allowed to rest within it. Time continues to soften. The edges of minutes blur together. It becomes difficult and unnecessary to tell how long you've been travelling. You may find that the sense of you feels less defined now. Not gone, just quieter, less outlined, as though the motion has gently smoothed the boundaries between thought and feeling, between awareness and rest. The journey continues whether you follow it or not, and as the train moves on through the deepest part of the night, you can allow yourself to drift freely, held by the rhythm, supported by the stillness, and carried onward without any need to remain fully awake. The train continues on. There is no announcement to mark this part of the journey, no signal to indicate a change. Everything moves forward exactly as it has been, quietly and without interruption. The night feels settled now, as though it has reached a depth where nothing more needs to happen. Darkness surrounds the train evenly, not pressing in, not pulling away, simply present, calm, and complete. The rhythm beneath you remains steady, familiar, almost unnoticeable now, not because it has faded, but because it has become part of you, like something you no longer need to listen for in order to trust. You are being carried. That is enough. Outside the window, there is very little to see. Not because there is nothing there, but because the night no longer insists on being observed. The landscape has softened into suggestion, long quiet stretches that pass without leaving an impression. You don't need images anymore. You don't need details. If thoughts appear, they do so gently. If they don't, that is just as natural. The train does not require your awareness to continue. It has done this many times before, through many nights like this one, carrying countless quiet moments forward without keeping track. Your body rests easily now. Any remaining tension has found its way out, not through effort, but through permission. Muscles have softened. Breath moves quietly. Even the small unconscious adjustments you might usually make have slowed. There is nothing left to hold. The space around you feels wide and unpressured. The carriage is still, the air unchanged, the light constant and low, Everything remains just as it needs to be to allow rest to deepen. Time feels distant here, not gone, just irrelevant. Minutes and hours no longer ask to be counted. The journey is not measured by progress or distance, but by continuity, by the simple fact that movement continues, calm and uninterrupted. You may feel yourself drifting further now, slipping in and out of awareness without noticing the transition. Thoughts may blur into impressions. Sensations may soften into background presence. This is not something you need to manage. The train moves on whether you are awake or asleep. The night holds you either way. Somewhere far away beyond your concern, stations continue to exist. Tracks stretch onward. Other journeys take place. None of them require your attention. This one is enough. The steady motion remains, like a quiet reassurance that does not need words. It does not change its tone. It does not ask for response. It simply continues, carrying you forward in the same gentle way. If sleep comes, it comes naturally. If it doesn't, rest still remains. There is no wrong way to experience this moment. The train glides through the night without destination urgency, without expectation, without any need for arrival. It understands that this journey is not about where it ends, but about the calm it maintains along the way. And so it continues, softly, steadily, without pause. You can allow yourself to remain here for as long as you wish, listening without listening, travelling without effort, resting within the quiet motion of the night. The train continues on, just as it has been. There is no sense of beginning or ending now, only the steady presence of motion, calm and unbroken. The night outside feels vast, not empty, but complete, as though everything that needed to happen has already settled into place. The rhythm beneath you remains constant, unhurried, reliable. It no longer draws attention to itself. It simply exists, carrying you forward in the same gentle way, moment after moment. You don't need to listen for it. You don't need to notice it. It's there whether you're aware of it or not. The carriage feels even quieter now, if that's possible. The stillness has deepened, becoming something soft and familiar rather than something you notice. The seats remain empty and undisturbed, holding the same quiet shapes they've held all night. Nothing has changed, and nothing needs to. Outside the window, darkness stretches on, wide and uninterrupted. Long spans of night pass without lights, without landmarks, without anything that asks to be identified. The world has simplified itself down to motion and shadow. This is the part of the journey where time begins to lose its edges. Minutes no longer announce themselves. Moments blend gently together. It may feel as though you've been travelling for a long while now, or as though no time has passed at all. Both experiences can exist at the same time here, without contradiction. Your body rests easily in its place. The surface beneath you feels supportive, steady, familiar. There is no need to shift unless you want to. No signal telling you to adjust or move. Breathing continues quietly in the background, unobserved unless you choose to notice it. Each breath moves through you with the same ease as the train moves through the night, in and out. Nothing is being measured. If thoughts appear now, they may be faint, half-formed, like distant echoes rather than clear ideas. They arrive without urgency and often leave before you have time to follow them. You don't need to finish them. You don't need to understand them. They can drift through just like the scenery beyond the glass. The train remains steady, unchanged by your state of awareness. It carries you whether you're listening closely, drifting lightly, or sinking deeper into rest. There is a quiet comfort in that. Somewhere far away, too far to matter, the tracks continue to stretch forward. They do not twist or challenge the train. They simply guide it gently onward, prepared long in advance for this passage. You are not responsible for the direction. You are not responsible for the distance. You are only here. The night feels thicker now, softer, as though sound itself has been absorbed into it. Even the gentle hum beneath you feels muted, like a memory of sound rather than sound itself. Everything has slowed. If your awareness drifts in and out, that's perfectly natural. You may notice moments where you're not sure what you were just thinking about, or whether you were thinking at all. Those moments don't need to be corrected. They are part of resting. The carriage light remains low and steady, unchanged. It doesn't flicker or shift. It offers no signal that time is passing. It simply remains, a small, constant presence in the quiet. The train does not hurry through this part of the journey. It does not rush toward anything ahead. It moves with patience, as though it understands that this stretch of night is meant to be long, and so it allows it to be. You may feel a sense of suspension now, as though you're floating gently forward, supported on all sides. There is no pressure to arrive anywhere else, no expectation to wake or sleep in any particular way. Both are welcome. The journey continues, calm and uninterrupted, carrying you through the deepest part of the night, where nothing asks for your attention and nothing needs to be done. The train continues, steady and unchanged. By now, the sense of movement feels so familiar that it almost disappears into the background of awareness. It no longer feels like something happening to you, but something gently happening around you, constant, reliable, and calm. The night outside remains deep and unbroken. There are long stretches now where nothing passes the window at all. No lights, no stations, no signs that need interpreting. Just darkness, layered and soft, moving slowly alongside the train. This is the kind of night that doesn't ask questions. The kind of night that allows everything to slow to its most natural pace. Inside the carriage, everything remains still. The empty seats rest quietly in place. The air feels settled, undisturbed. Even the sense of space feels softer, as though the edges of the carriage have relaxed. You don't need to look around anymore. Nothing has changed. Your body continues to rest easily, supported without effort. Whatever position you're in now feels like the right one, simply because there is no reason to change it. Breathing continues, quiet and steady, in and out. There is no need to notice each breath. They can come and go on their own, unobserved, like the passing darkness beyond the glass. If awareness drifts, it drifts gently. If it returns, it does so without urgency. There is no wrong place to be in this moment. The sound of the train has softened even further, smoothing itself into something almost abstract. It is no longer a collection of noises, but a single continuous presence, like a low distant current carrying everything forward. It doesn't vary, it doesn't surprise, it simply continues. This part of the journey feels long, in the best possible way, spacious, unpressured, as though the night itself has decided to stretch out, giving you more room to rest. Time here feels wide rather than measured. Minutes do not announce themselves. Hours do not demand recognition. There is only the sense of ongoing. You may notice that thoughts, if they appear at all, feel softer than before, less defined, more like impressions than ideas. They might arrive without words or leave before forming into anything clear. That's perfectly fine. Nothing needs to be followed to its conclusion. The train moves on whether you think or not, whether you listen or not, whether you drift or remain lightly aware. That knowledge can be deeply reassuring. Outside, the darkness feels almost velvety now, layered, calm, unbroken. The sense of distance grows. Whatever exists beyond the train feels very far away and very unimportant. Here, everything is simple. Motion, stillness, rest. If sleep begins to settle in, you don't need to resist it. If it doesn't, rest is still present, still available. there is no expectation. The carriage light continues to glow faintly, unchanged. It does not signal progress or arrival. It simply offers a quiet sense of continuity, a reminder that everything is steady. You are being carried. You have been carried for some time now, and you will continue to be carried. The night does not rush this journey. It allows it to unfold slowly, generously, as though there is no need for it to end anytime soon. The train glides onward through the long, uninterrupted darkness, holding you gently in its rhythm, allowing the mind to loosen further, allowing the body to rest more deeply. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to happen next. The journey simply continues, calm and unbroken, stretching softly into the night. The train continues forward, unchanged in its gentle rhythm. By now, the movement feels completely natural, as though it has always been there. It no longer feels like something you're noticing moment by moment, but something quietly supporting you in the background, constant and reliable. The night outside remains deep and unbroken. There are no signals asking for attention. No changes that need to be tracked. No signs that require interpretation. Just darkness, calm and complete, moving alongside the train. Inside the carriage, everything remains still. The quiet has settled into the space fully now, resting comfortably around you. The seats, the walls, the air itself all seem to share the same unhurried calm. Nothing shifts, nothing interrupts. Your body remains supported, held gently where you are. There is no need to adjust unless it feels natural to do so. Whatever position you've settled into feels right, simply because there is no urgency to change it. Breathing continues quietly, moving at its own pace, in and out. You don't need to follow each breath. They can come and go on their own, like the passing night beyond the window. If thoughts appear, they may feel distant now, as though they're arriving from far away. They might be vague, incomplete, or fleeting, impressions rather than ideas. You don't need to give them shape. You don't need to finish them. They can drift through and fade, leaving no trace behind. The sound of the train has softened even further, smoothing itself into a single, continuous presence. It no longer feels like wheels or rails or motion, but simply movement, steady, even, and dependable. Like a quiet current. Time feels especially gentle here. It no longer presses forward or pulls you along. Instead, it seems to stretch out, offering space rather than demand. Minutes blend together. Moments lose their edges. There is no reason to count. The carriage light remains low and steady, unchanged. It doesn't brighten or dim. It offers no sense of progress or arrival. It simply remains, a quiet constant in the surrounding darkness. You are safe here. You are supported. You are being carried. Outside the window, the darkness feels almost layered now, as though the night has depth and texture rather than emptiness. Whatever exists beyond the train feels distant and unimportant, already softened by the hour. The train moves through it with ease. You may notice that your awareness drifts more freely now, moving between listening and resting without any clear boundary. One moment you're aware of the words, the next you're not quite sure where your thoughts went. There is no need to bring yourself back. This gentle drifting is part of the journey. Your body continues to rest. Muscles remain loose. Breathing stays slow and easy. Even the smallest signs of effort have faded. Nothing needs to be held anymore. The train does not hurry this part of the night. It continues at the same calm pace, as though it understands that this stretch of the journey is meant to be long, quiet and uninterrupted, and so it allows it to be. You don't need to wonder how much longer the journey will last. There is no expectation of an ending, no need to prepare for what comes next. The motion remains steady. The night remains calm. The journey continues. You can allow yourself to remain here, resting within the rhythm, carried gently forward through the darkness, knowing that nothing needs to change, and nothing will unless it needs to. The train continues on, just as it has for some time now. There is a sense of familiarity in the movement, a quiet reassurance that nothing unexpected will happen. The rhythm beneath you remains unchanged, steady and smooth, carrying you forward without effort. The night feels very still. Outside the window, darkness stretches on without interruption. There are no lights now, no shapes to notice, no passing markers of distance. The world beyond the glass has softened into something abstract, something that no longer needs to be seen. Inside, the carriage feels completely settled. The air is calm, the space is quiet, everything is exactly as it should be. You may notice how natural it feels to rest here now. The body has adjusted fully to the journey. There is no tension left to release, no posture left to correct. Whatever position you are in feels right, simply because nothing is asking to be different. Breathing continues in its own quiet rhythm, in and out. Each breath moves through you easily, without being shaped or guided. There is nothing to control, nothing to manage. The sound of the train has become so consistent quiet that it feels almost like silence, a soft, continuous presence that supports rest rather than interrupting it. It does not change. It does not call attention to itself. It simply remains. Thoughts, if they appear at all, feel very distant now. They may arrive without words, like faint impressions or gentle sensations. They don't linger. They don't form stories. You don't need to follow them. Awareness drifts gently, like something floating on calm water. At times you may feel fully present. At other times you may feel as though you've slipped away for a moment, only to return without noticing when. Both states are welcome. Time feels especially soft here. There is no sense of how long you've been travelling and no reason to wonder. The journey has become its own steady moment, repeating itself calmly without variation. The carriage light remains low and constant, offering no cues, no signals. It does not measure time. It simply exists, like the train itself, quiet and dependable. You are being carried. There is nothing you need to listen for, nothing you need to respond to, nothing you might miss. The night holds everything evenly now, smoothing edges, quieting unnecessary movement. Even the idea of distance feels unimportant. The train is not moving toward anything. It is simply moving through the night.